Hi, everyone, and good morning.
Morning.
Very, very excited to see all of you this morning. I have to say, I think it's just like a great program, and I'm very, very happy to see that we had people. Like I told Justin that I'm so worried that it's just gonna be like me cooking shakshuka, and I'm like, I've done it like 1,000 times, so I'm very, very happy that you are all with me today. So if like before we like start the cooking part of the cooking class, maybe I'll just introduce myself, and then I would just love to have like a round of names. If you can just share a little bit about yourself. I know you all know each other, but I unfortunately haven't had the chance to meet, I think, most of you in real life. So maybe we can have like a quick round of like name, what do you do in life, and maybe like your favorite Israeli food or some like experience that you had with Israeli food throughout the years. So if we haven't had the chance to meet yet, my name is Hadass, and I am the Israeli Shlicha for the Jewish Federation here in Houston. So I came to Houston almost 2 years ago to work with the Federation with the Jewish Agency program. My husband is here with me as well, and he works with the JCC and more like with teens and kids. And basically our job here is just to bring a little bit more of Israel to the community in a fun, and just like a different way. I think it's different to hear about Israel from professors, and it's different to hear about Israel from people who live there their entire lives. So just to give like a perspective. And I think that's also one of the reasons that we created this cooking class, because I feel like, especially nowadays, like there's so many Zoom calls, there's so many things going on Zoom, and people are not necessarily one to like listen to other people talk for hours and hours, but they want to interact with other people. And I think food is always like a good way to connect people, and that's kind of like why we created this program. And I thought like shakshuka is like a perfect Israeli brunch for a Sunday morning, which in Israel is probably like Friday, because for us Sunday is like a Monday here, which is really like, it's just fun that it's different. So before we'll start, if we can have like a quick just like share your names, who is with you in your little Zoom cube, and what do you do at the moment, and if you have any favorite Israeli food. So just jump on if you want to start.
Okay, I'll start since everybody's was not running off. I'm Laura Rosenfield. This is my husband, Mark. We're, I guess, you know, living the quarantine life. I'm working from home best I can. I sell promotional products, and right now we just sell a lot of masks and hand sanitizer. That's about all we can do. And my favorite Israeli food is falafel. Yeah. I don't know if that's Israeli or just Mediterranean, but I like falafel.
We'll take it. Yeah. Mark, how about you? What do you do for a living? And is your favorite Israeli food?
For a living, I'm her husband. I'm in the automobile business, and I have to go out a little bit, so I'm not at home all the time. But we're trying to take lots of precautions. And the best thing about the whole quarantine is my wife has been cooking more. She actually is a good cook, which I didn't know this.
Surprise.
But you know, we're just getting through it.
That's right.
Next.
You want to?
I'm Debbie Jones. I work at a small university here in town, and so we had to, you know, pull everybody home. And I've actually been working, it feels like more than usual. And the crazy thing is that there's almost like no cutoff. There's always something else to think about. There's always an email coming in. And I think setting boundaries for working at home has been kind of tough.
Yeah. I'm with her, Barney Jones. I'm a lawyer. I'm working at home now, and kind of the same thing. I don't get to have as many one-on-one conferences to sign stuff, but I'm still talking to clients and doing my work remotely. Probably going back to the office next week for at least, you know, 2 or 3 days a week, maybe. Favorite food? It's got to be hummus.
Hummus, yeah. We actually made falafel. I found a box of Trader Joe's falafel mix in the back of the pantry that wasn't expired. And it was actually really good. It was delicious.
Good.
My mother says those expiration dates are just its best buy. You can still eat it, she says.
There you go. That's right.
I have to say, making falafel from scratch is really not that hard. A lot of people think it's like super challenging, and it's really not. You just need to have like the right ingredients for that. Maybe our next class will be.
I was going to say our next class.
That's an idea.
Think of that.
I'll go next. I'm Betsy Levinson. I actually work at the JCC. It's right around the corner from me, and so I'm not working right now. I teach water classes, so it's going to be a while before they start group exercise classes. So the best thing actually about quarantine is, for me, I just got certified for my RYT 200 hours in yoga in January, and the organization I got it certified through has been doing tons of online Zoom classes. So I've been taking like Ayurveda and Yoga Nidra, and I'm going to be taking a breath class, pelvic floor issues, if any of us females have those, and taking an anatomy and alignment class this weekend. So so that's been keeping me busy. I've been learning a lot. And favorite food is, it's probably the hummus. I love hummus. So yeah.
We're introducing. Hi, I'm Mark Levinson, and I'm with Debbie. I am working for Devin for the past 6 or 7 weeks and don't know where the off switch is, which is why I'm not cooking today, because I'm going to go back and do more work.
Oh, come on, Mark.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, what is it? Where I work at Houston Methodist Hospital Foundation. So we raise philanthropic support for research, education, and advances in patient care.
So he's been really, really busy.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Really food, like hummus.
What it was like Israeli food. I think the Shakshuka is going to be made in about an hour.
Like a right choice.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks for sharing. Thank you.
I'm Paul Herman. I'm a pediatrician, and I've been working shorter hours, but regularly, so it's nice to have a reason to get out of the house, as quarantined as so many other people. I am careful when I come home. I take a shower before I get in the back door.
Wow.
So I don't bring it home to Julie. Favorite food is probably the hummus. What else? Julie?
I'm a writer, and I guess my favorite foods are the usual suspects. Falafel, and hummus is good too. I'm not familiar with Israeli cuisine, so this is going to be really a fun addition.
Hey.
Hi, I guess I'll go. I'm Marcia Beretta, and I'm quarantined at home, fortunately, with my daughter Kelly, who lived in Israel for a while and has a lot of Israeli foods that she likes. So that's it for me.
Hi, I'm Lori Ferris, and I am a senior living specialist. I help families figure out what's next, and I've been working a lot, but not moving anyone anywhere. Just figuring out after this. I think it's going to be extremely busy because people staying at home are so lonely and quarantined, and those in a community actually are thriving and doing better. This is Vinny. He's a friend of my daughter's. They both had their college semester cut off. My daughter was graduating, so unfortunately there was a big pity party and kind of funeral for her last semester, but we're trying to make the best of it. I think her life is pretty on hold. She was going on birthright. Well, actually, her and Vinny got a grant to go to China to study the farm culture, which that would not be happening. Yeah. She was going on birthright, which is probably not happening. And then our niece is getting married in Netanya on October 22nd. So we'll see. So your favorite Israeli food?
Probably, honestly, Shakshuka is probably pretty good. That's up there. And I don't know if it's politically, culturally accurate to baba ganoush has Israeli origins. I'm not very sure if it has.
Probably not. Probably more Mediterranean, but you know we can find it in Israel, so we'll take
The
it.
roasted eggplant is incredible, though. I love that.
So as far as me, I mean, we have a chef in house who's a Mediterranean chef. My husband is from Sardinia, so it has a lot of Mediterranean, Arabic, Turkish roots in everything we cook. I do have to say though, when I was pregnant with Francesca, the only food I was able to eat was falafel, and I picked up falafel every single day from Cafe Lily. So I think Francesca's favorite food in vitro was falafel. It's not my favorite food, but I ate one every single day when I was pregnant. So I don't know. So
That's amazing. Wow.
Francesca's favorite food, but I don't know.
Marcia, I think we missed Kelly.
Here, Kelly, come say hi. Hi. Living at mom's, quarantining, both healthy. I lived in Israel for 2 years, and really falafel and hummus, let's be honest. I got really used to schnitzel being like offered at most meals. And I was telling her I have a friend who just went on Birthright, and he thinks the world of Shakshuka. I used to live in Seattle, and so he would always make Shakshuka for us. And so I was like, Mom, there's a Shakshuka class. And so I'm just happy to be watching back. Everybody stay healthy.
So thank you all for sharing. This was great. Now I feel like I know you all a little bit more than 10 minutes ago, so that's a good thing. I have to say that for me, I don't know, I feel like shakshuka is not my favorite Israeli dish. Just because I think in the past 2 years, like I eat it so much here. Like a lot of people in the States love Israeli shakshuka, so I had like a lot of shakshuka, I think in the States actually more than I had it in Israel, which is kind of funny. But actually the reason that we chose this recipe is because it's a very, very simple recipe that everyone can do. And also you can just change the ingredients based on what you have at home. So if you don't have tomatoes, you can use like chopped canned tomatoes, or I'm going to use today like cherry tomatoes because that's what I had at home. And if you don't have onion, you can skip on the onion. And if you don't have garlic, you can put like garlic powder. Like this recipe is really
my kind of recipe.
Yeah, it's really casual. Because some of the recipes like really required like specific things. Like we wanted to make burekas like a few days ago when we needed to have like puff pastry. And if you don't have puff pastry, you can make something else, but it's gonna be like a different pastry. It's not gonna be like the regular burekas. So I think with that we'll start. So I'm just gonna show you, just making sure we're all on the same page with all the ingredients that you should have in front of you at the moment. So you need to have 1 chopped onion. So I'm just gonna tell you, I reduced the portions a little bit because it's just me and my husband. So I'm gonna make like a mini shakshuka because we don't need like a whole. If you're also just like 2 people at home, depends how hungry you are. We're not that hungry at the moment, so I'm not gonna make a huge shakshuka. But I would say like 1 onion is always good, even if you're 1 people, like 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. 1 chopped onion always works. And I chop them to like little squares, little cubes. Depends how you like it. And I would say that about shakshuka or Israeli food in general. It really depends on how much you like your onion or how much you like different ingredients. My husband loves onion, so he just chopped them to like thin slices and not cubes because he likes the texture of the onion. You also need to have 1 clove of garlic. You can either like crush it, or if you have garlic powder, you can use that as well. Whatever works for you. And once again, if you like more garlic, have 2 cloves of garlic or a clove of garlic. Really depends on what you like. Other than that, you also need to have some sort of tomatoes. So I took today, because that's what we have at fridge, I took some cherry tomatoes. So this is probably like 2 cups of cut in half cherry tomatoes. So the reason that I cut them in half is because it's just going to make easier to create the sauce. So if you do have cherry tomatoes, just make sure either to punch like little holes in them with fork or just to cut them in halves. That would be easier. Once again, if you're 2 people, probably 2 cups of diced tomatoes would be enough. You can always add more, add less, really depends on you. You also should have tomato paste, which unfortunately I wish I have it, but I don't. So it's actually gonna be a little bit easier for me. If you want, you can add tomato paste. It just gives it like another depth of flavors, I can say that. But if you don't have it, that's okay. We're just gonna add a little bit of water to thicken that up and make sure that the sauce is gonna be nice. From spices, condiment, we need to have salt and pepper, obviously the basics, but we also wanna have paprika or chili powder or both. So the reason that we're gonna add paprika and chili powder just gives it a really nice heat, and it really depends on you guys and how much you like spicy food. I'm not a fan of spicy food, especially not for breakfast. I feel like I love spicy food in like Indian or like Vietnamese food and Thai food, but not on my eggs for breakfast. So that's me. Depends on you guys. If you like more spicy, you can add whatever you want. You can even add jalapenos while we're gonna saute the onions. You can really be as creative as possible. And the reason that we're going to add paprika is because that's what gives it the nice shakshuka flavor. Because otherwise, if you would add other spices like basil or oregano, it's gonna be like pasta sauce, and we don't want it to be pasta sauce. It's kind of like the same texture, but we want to give it a nice different flavor, and the flavor usually comes from paprika. So if you have paprika, more than welcome to put that next to you. And before we're gonna start our cooking, I just want to offer you guys, if you have any other interesting ingredients that you think that you might want to add, that would be a great time to prepare them. So if you like roasted peppers and you have some roasted peppers at home, you could easily put them in. There's something in Israel we call it like Balkan shakshuka, when people add eggplants and feta cheese into the mixture as well. So I am actually today going to add a little bit of goat cheese just because I had it at home and I love to add it. So we're just gonna sprinkle that at the end right before we're gonna put our eggs. So it's gonna make it within the sauce, but just like sprinkle that on top. So if you have feta cheese, something like that, that would work perfect. And now
I'm a big hatch chili fan. From Hatch, New Mexico, so I'm there in October, and I have 2 full bags of Hatch frozen chilies.
Okay. And what do you do with them? Do you just like defrost them and add them to?
So yeah, what I do is they come as Hatch chilies, and they're roasted. And so what I do is I peel them, I freeze them, and then I put them in anything you want some, instead of like jalapeno, when you said jalapenos. So they're like peppers, but they've got a little bit of a kick to it. So usually you like my eggs, something like that, but you can put it on like pizza or chicken or whatever. So anyway, thank you for the idea.
Yeah, thank you. And that's great. It's great. So just like bring, other things that you love. You can just put it in there. Most of the things will go great with a shakshuka. So anything savory that you like would probably work. Saw some people making shakshuka and putting like artichoke in there. So that could work as well. There are just like so many things that you can add and be creative. I would say one of the most popular shakshuka dishes in Israel is even not based on tomatoes, but it's based on sauteed spinach. So we call it like green shakshuka, and you just saute spinach with onions and garlic. You add a little bit of cream and you pour the eggs. So you can really be as creative as you want. So what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna move us to my stove, and okay, I'm gonna turn on the light so you were all able to see me in here. So I don't know if you're able to see that, but the side of our fridge is a very Israeli one. So every Israeli in every like wedding or bar mitzvah or something like that, you have magnets that just like take your picture and like print it on a magnet. So this is our fridge, just like pictures from like weddings of friends and our wedding in the summer. So it's a very, very Israeli thing to have. So I'm gonna take a small, medium-sized saucepan. That's like the smallest that we have. And it all depends on how many eggs you actually want to put in your shakshuka. So you want to make sure that there's a place in the pan for all the eggs that you want to put. I'm just going to put like 2 or 3 eggs for today. So that should be enough. This size of pan, you can see that, probably good for like 4 eggs. So really up to you.
5 will fit.
I'm just going to put a little bit of either like olive oil or vegetable oil, any type of oil that you want. I'm just going to pour like 1 tablespoon into the pan. I'm going to turn on the heat for like medium heat. So we just want to saute the onions and not to burn them. So
You said
The onions?
saute the onions, you said?
yeah, so I'm just going to wait a minute to the oil to heat up a little bit, and then I'm just going to add the onions. Just going to bring all things in here so it would be easier. Yeah, so I like to have all of my things kind of like ready by my side before starting. So I have my onions and my tomatoes, and all the spices that I'm going to use, and my. Okay. I'm also going to take out the eggs. I'm also going to say if you love the shakshuka sauce, but you don't want to make it every single time that you want to make shakshuka, to the sauce. Don't add the eggs, don't add the cheese or anything else. And you can freeze them in small portions. And then if you have like those small fillets at home, you can just put it into the saucepan, let it defrost in the saucepan, heat up, and then just like crack an egg and add it on top. So you can really, and you can also use it as like a base for like to make like pasta sauce or lasagna sauce. It's really a very, very basic sauce. And I would say that if you're like very lazy and don't want to make the sauce, you can also just like buy the marinara sauce, something like that, and add a little bit paprika to give it like the nice flavor. So
I have a question. I have a question.
Yes,
I
please.
didn't have fresh garlic. What I did have was minced garlic. And so I'm just wondering, does anybody have any idea how much of this minced garlic would equal 1 clove of garlic?
I would put like 1 teaspoon, maybe, depending how much you
I
like.
think so. I think so.
How much garlic you like?
I like garlic. So you're thinking 1 teaspoon? Okay.
Or tablespoon, maybe.
You use a lot of garlic.
I love garlic. I always add more than the recipe says.
I've got about 5 cloves.
Yeah, I got
That's a lot of garlic.
I'd be a 1 clove garlic person.
Okay. So I just put my onions in the saucepan, so it's really just going to start and saute really slowly. So we don't want the heat to be like super strong, then the onions are going to get burned really quickly, and we really don't want that. Want them to saute to be like nice golden-ish.
Beautiful.
Actually, that we're not going to add the garlic now is because the garlic gets burned more easily than the onions. So probably towards the end of sauteing the onions, we're going to add the garlic. So I have one of my best friends in Israel. I love her, but she really doesn't cook that good. And she once made us like something with like garlic and onions, which I love. She put the garlic too soon, and it just like got burned.
It gets bitter.
And up until that point, I always thought it's just like an urban legend of saying like don't add the garlic with the onions. And
what's her name? What's her name? We're gonna get in touch with her and tell her what you just said.
We actually bought her for her birthday probably like 5 years ago, like a kit, like the beginning chef. So we got her like thing to protect her hand from cutting herself, like a small cookbook. So it was fun. We have a cute tradition in Israel when all of our friends, we get together every Friday, like Shabbat dinner, and then everyone just cook 1 or 2 dishes, and then we have like a full table full of dishes. So she learned how to cook eventually. She's still learning, right? That's
delightful.
Okay, my garlic looks good. I mean, my onion looks good.
Okay, so the onion, as you can see from me, is like starting to saute a little bit. The lovely noise of like, I don't even know how to describe that. Or in Hebrew. But slowly.
Julie, is Paul helping you? Oh, she can't hear?
Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh.
No, I'm just watching because I wanted to taste it.
Because it did not look like you were helping, Paul. We can eat it so they can hear the How do you do that?
But Dots, are people quarantining like this in Israel right now?
Yeah, and I would say even worse in Israel up until a few weeks ago. So for like Pesach, for example, they had a completely lockdown of Israel because they didn't want families to get together because, as you know, like so they had like police in the streets and like the army in the street to make sure that people are not moving from one state to another. So it's really challenging. And then now there's so many issues with like the education system because we're like learning remotely, distance learning, I don't know how to call it. But then now they say maybe they need to teach in the summertime instead, and they're not going to get paid for that. And then the teachers were like, well, we're not going to work as we're going to get paid, right? Like, makes sense, I would say, in any other field. So why not the teachers? And then there was like a huge thing about it when like so many people got so angry with the teachers in Israel. Like, start with like a very, very low salary and not a lot of respect in Israel. So it was just like a lot of issues going on. Yeah, we'll see. They started to open Israel like 2 days ago, and today they started to have like school for first and second grade like 2 days a week, and then another group like 2 other days a week. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I feel like the states are more like smarter in that sense. You know, they decided to cancel school for the rest of the year because they figure out there's no way that we would be able to do schools. And in Israel, I think maybe because it's like a smaller country, then we just need more people to work. So we need the teachers so other people would be able to go to work. And it's been challenging. Like actually, no one can enter Israel without going to like isolation. So they just changed like a few of the hotels in Israel. Like if you've been to Dan in Tel Aviv, it's like right on the beach. They actually turned it into a Corona hotel. So if you got on a flight, no matter from where in the world, you have to go there for 2 weeks, be negative for 3 Corona tests, and only after that, after 3 weeks, you can go to your home. So even if you do have a home in Israel, you're not allowed to go there once you arrive. So
that's smart.
Yeah, I think it is smart because I think in the States, probably the biggest problem is that people can travel from one state to another and just keep on spreading the virus. I think probably the biggest challenge. Well, we'll see. I feel like for me, my biggest concern, I'm supposed to work at CYJ this summer, so God, how that will work. And I was there for the summer as well, and I just heard that last week, recently, I decided I'm not gonna do this year, so that's going to affect YJ as well. We'll see about that. And we're supposed to go back to Israel at the end of the summer, so let's hope we would be able to do that. You know, with everything going on. So I'm just going to show you how my onions look like. So they just started to get like nice brown, golden-ish color. And in a minute from now, I'm just going to add a little bit of the garlic. And really up to you how much effort you want to put in sauteing the onions. I feel that for me, because it's going to be cooked in sauce afterwards, it's not like crucial to have like the perfect onions, but it's really up to you and how perfectionist you are. I would say. Yeah, but I feel like Israeli cooking is very loose. Like you can also like put other things, add other things, not cook it perfectly, and it still will turn out really nice. So
You may have said earlier, I didn't hear you, is this your first virtual cooking class?
actually not. I had a few of them in the past few weeks, I would say, because we were just trying to be creative and think how we can bring Israel to people's home when everyone's are by themselves. So I had one with kids. like a young chef program when we made like Israeli desserts. So it was really cute to do it with the kids as well, because I think for them it can be very, very challenging to be at home and not be in school and with their friends and be maybe like independent as they used to be with their parents all day. So it was really, really nice. And yeah, I think with you, like the first adult cooking class. So that's yeah. I'm just gonna add my garlic to the pan, just because my onions started to soften a little bit. And probably I have like 2 more minutes of like sauteing that. If we all started together, we all should be about the same. That's probably my favorite step, like adding the garlic. It just gives nice fragrance in the house. And I love garlic, so for me, that's
A little sizzle.
yep. So just make sure that your onions are not getting burnt. If you see like really dark brown at the edges of the onions, then it means the heat is a little bit too high. So just reduce the heat a little bit.
I actually just thought of what is my really favorite Israeli food, and I don't know if it's Israeli or not. I grew up eating it. Halva.
Yeah. Oh, halva is the best.
We used to go into delis when I was a kid, and the halva was like this giant thing that they would slice pieces off of. I think a lot of people don't like it.
I think it has like a very strong flavor, so some of the people not necessarily like it. It's based on tahini, which is like sesame paste. So even if you love halva, just take a little bit of tahini and add some sugar or honey into it and mix it up, and it would be like exactly the same taste of halva.
Oh, I'm gonna try that. That sounds great.
And if you want to be like really great, I love there's like an amazing bakery in Israel that I love, and like where I grew up, and they have a chocolate halva babka. So babka, that would be amazing. So you just add to the spread that you put on the babka, just add a little bit of tahini, and it's already sweet because it has the sweetness from the chocolate, and it just amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Highly recommend. Okay, so I'm going to show you how my onions look like at the moment, and I think they're pretty good. So you see they're like nice and golden and brown. And at this point, I will add my tomatoes. So once again, if you have cherry tomatoes, if you have diced tomatoes, it's really all.
Okay, if you have diced out of the can, should it be drained?
You can, but I wouldn't, because we're gonna might need some water anyways. And if it's too watery, just leave it without cover. So that will work. So just like stir it up a little bit to make sure it all comes together. Show you how it looks like.
You can add water, it doesn't really matter.
I don't need to add water, I don't think.
It really depends on the consistency of your shakshuka. Some of if we use like a little bit more paste, then we might need some water to really just help the tomatoes. And if it's diced tomato or fresh tomatoes, it's like different waters. So.
So until I realized my job.
You what?
I realized my job in the kitchen is to clean. Hey, Lori. First, Paul's doing some.
This is not just a pretty face.
Okay, we're adding the tomatoes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the time to add the tomato, and if you have tomato paste, you can add it now as well.
Add it now.
That's all.
Since I have a cherry tomato, I'm going to use my wooden spoon and just crush them a little bit, just to help them to get to the nice crushed diced tomatoes and not full tomato.
Really?
So as you probably can see with you all as well, the tomatoes are starting to get a little bit mushy and start to get the water out of the tomato, and that's what's gonna bring our So I would say that this recipe really works best if you have like a week-old tomatoes at your fridge that you just don't know what to do with them and you don't want to throw them away, so you can easily just put them in the shakshuka sauce. This works really, really well. If you have like really hard, firm tomatoes, it's probably going to take them a little longer to cook. So just put that in the back of your mind. And I'm actually going to cover my saucepan just for like a few minutes because I use cherry tomatoes and they're a little bit more firm than diced tomatoes. I just want to make sure to soften up before I will go to our second phase. So I'm just going to cover my pan for a few minutes and just going to let them cook nicely.
What? You can ask.
I'm actually glad to hear you say what you said about the tomatoes because I bought them on Wednesday and they've been sitting on the counter and they had some spots on them at this point. So
perfect.
I'm glad to use them up.
Yeah, and I feel like especially those like that, I feel like we need to use all the ingredients that we have. Like I hate to throw away food. I don't know why. I guess it's a good thing, but I don't know. I feel bad throwing away food, and I feel like shakshuka is always like a good recipe for like everything that you have left in the fridge to like put in there. Always works well. So.
Makes it
especially now. Like I feel like now the supermarkets have all the things, but I don't know. Like 2 weeks ago, it was really hard to get like canned tomatoes and tomato paste and stuff like that. So we really try to be as creative as possible and create different things.
Are we adding the chili powder and paprika now?
You can either add it now. I'm actually going to add it a little bit, like in a few minutes, because I want my sauce to really come together and only that.
Okay.
And mine is starting to come together, which I'm very excited for. Add a little bit of water because I don't have tomato paste. I need like another something to help me create the sauce. If you have tomato paste and you haven't put it in there yet, you're more than welcome to do it now. And also I saw some people use ketchup instead of tomato paste.
Yeah.
Don't know what my personal opinion on that. That is something that you can do. Apparently.
Is ketchup a thickener like tomato paste? I never thought of it like that.
Like, not really. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. I just feel like ketchup has like such a strong flavor that I don't know if I want to put it instead of tomato. It just like doesn't taste like tomatoes. It's like ketchup. It's like a whole different thing.
Some people think it's a vegetable.
I like ketchup.
Oh, I love ketchup. I'm just not sure.
Mark, I weaned myself off of ketchup. I used to eat ketchup with everything.
You gotta get the water. You gotta get the Whataburger fancy spicy ketchup.
Where?
Do they have that?
At HEB.
HEB does. HEB has Whataburger spicy sauces. I used to ship them up to Sarah in college in New York.
Whataburger ketchup is a popular Israeli ingredient, I'm sure.
No, I don't think so.
Or just
Oh, sriracha.
That's a good idea.
That's the best.
Instead of chili, I'm using chipotle powder.
Yeah.
I spicy for breakfast.
I jalapenos.
Like spicy for breakfast.
Spicy anytime.
In Texas, you know.
Yeah, there you
That's true. I don't think we have as much jalapenos in Israel as we have in here. Kind of.
This is actually what I'm obsessed with. It's not Israeli, it's Chinese. You get it at Chinese markets and you can put it on eggs. I've been known to sneak a spoon out of the jar.
What is it?
It's a chili oil. It's got, I don't know what in it, but it's really, really, it's probably got MSG. It's probably not. Chili crunch, see?
Oh, that's such a good idea.
This is like, we eat this on everything.
I have this from Trader Joe. I might just gonna add it.
That tastes very different. I have that too. That's very oniony.
I wonder if it will work.
Oh, the hash is good.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah. We like spice in Texas, Hadass.
I'm not so spicy, but I don't know. Could be some. Just add a little bit.
This is the best kind of the grocery store.
Basically, Hadass, it's supposed to thicken down, right?
Yeah, so it should have like a nice tomato, like kind of like pasta sauce. So I'm just gonna show you my consistency the way that I like it. It's like nice and runny, but not too thick and not too runny. And at this point, I'm going to add my spice. So I'm going to add salt and pepper. Salt, pepper, paprika, and a little bit of chili powder if you like.
That's chili powder.
Are you adding spices now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
You did a jalapeno. How much did you say?
A teaspoon.
That's that much?
Ooh, it smells good.
So, Hadass, do you ever use cumin?
That would be good.
But not in shakshuka. I feel like it's a strong flavor that for me works really well with like meat and chicken, but not, or like different like side dishes. Like I love to put cumin. I don't know if you know majada. It's like burgle wheat or rice cooked with lentils, and with that like really really. So I think cumin might be a little bit too strong for shakshuka. But if you want, you can try and add and see how that works for you. If you like it or not. I'm always for like experiments in the kitchen and figure out what for you and what do you like. So
We will try any spice on any food.
So what's the consistency you want the sauce to be?
So you want it to be like similar to like pasta sauce. So nothing really runny, but you don't want it to be like too thick. Yeah, because you're gonna cook the and more liquids are gonna go out. So you don't want it to be like super thick because then it's gonna get burned at the bottom, which we don't want that. So you really want it now to be like light simmer, so like lightly bubbly and not like too crazy bubbly, because then it's probably gonna get burned really quickly and we don't want that. And actually, I think my mixture is kind of ready. So I'm gonna share with me how yours looks like, how it feels. You can also just like taste a little bit to make sure that the taste works. If you used canned tomatoes, and I know that's how it's like in Israel. Ooh, looks good, Laura. Looks very good. So if you use canned tomatoes, sometimes they can be a little bit like savory and a little bit tangy. So I don't know if that's the case here. I know in Israel that's the case. So you can also just add a little bit of sugar if you need to like balance the flavors over there. But just taste a little bit of the mixture and see how that goes.
Okay. Taste everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you ever add any salt at any point?
Yeah. Add salt, pepper, paprika, and chili powder with the rest of the powder. With the rest of the
Oh, salt too?
Taste the jalapeno biggerly.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna figure egg on top of it.
Now your sauce is ready. You are probably ready to join me to our last phase, and that's getting the sauce ready for our eggs. So I think that Debbie over there has like a huge pot with the sauce. If you want, it might gonna be easier to do it in like a saucepan to just to have it like nicely and ready for the shakshuka, because if the sauce is too thick, it's like a huge layer of sauce and the eggs are just gonna crack in there. So we don't want like a thick layer of the shakshuka sauce in the pan. So if you have like a saucepan, that would probably be better.
So how thick of sauce? How deep should the sauce be?
You just don't want to put it like in a big pot. If you have like a saucepan, what I saw from your pan looks great. So
I mean, an inch of sauce, or half an inch of sauce?
if I knew what inch means, do you know that? Centimeters.
10 millimeters?
So I'll have something like that of a sauce.
Okay.
I don't know how much that is. But it can be thicker. It can be like a full saucepan. But it's really just important to put it in a pan and not in like a big pot. That's like
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay, other pans.
So what I'm gonna do next is using my wooden spoon. I'm just gonna create like little nests. That's how we call them. So we can put our eggs in them. So because just imagine if we're just gonna crack an egg on the top of the sauce, it's gonna go to like all over the pieces. What was that?
Sorry, I was talking to somebody else. Sorry.
Okay. So we just want to make sure that we create like little holes in the sauce so we can put our eggs in there so they can keep on their beautiful shape together. So I'm gonna create like 2 probably.
Yes. You're making a little mess.
In the sauce?
Yes.
And put the egg inside of it? This will be better. We're switching pans.
Okay. Even the Ontario pan would like work anyways. Once again, very, very flexible recipe. So it really all depends on how much sauce did you make.
We made a lot of sauce.
My wooden spoon, I'm just gonna shove a little bit of the sauce in the pan to create like nice nests to put the eggs in them.
Yeah, well, I like it.
Okay. So if our nests really won't make, then our sauce is too runny a little bit.
What was that again? Sorry.
Nest doesn't.
If we really can't make a nest, then our sauce is a little too runny.
Maybe.
I've got the same problem.
Can you show me like the consistency? It shouldn't be like a really like clear nest. You just want to like spread the sauce a little. Show you how mine looks like. You just want to like shove a little. So if we started off like that, then we just want to like shove a little bit to the sides to create like nice nest. And if there's like water on the side, like on the nest, that would work because we don't want it to be like straight on the pan. So if you want to show me how yours looks like, but I'm sure it's great.
It's kind of hard to see, I think, but
once again, this recipe is like really nice and it doesn't like, it's really forgetful. I don't know if you can say that. Your sauce looks great. Can you stir the mixture a little bit?
I don't get to show my sauce.
I think that looks. If you want to keep like the stove, like don't cover it yet and just let it simmer for a few more minutes. If you feel like runny, you can do that. So that your sauce is good at this point, you can lay the nest and put your eggs in there. I actually just saw that I have some tomato. It's not paste, but it's like sauce, and I'm just gonna add that to thicken up mine a little bit.
I didn't know we were doing that.
I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
4, 5, 6, yeah, no. Just let it do that. And it'll thicken up.
Ready?
Guys are
Mine. The way that I'm going to do it is I'm just going to crack an egg right into the little nest that I created. If it would be easier for you to crack an egg into like a small cup and only after that adding that slowly to the mixture, you can do that. But once again, you can really do it however you want. So I don't know.
Like being reformed, we can do it however we want.
I'm just gonna try wearing my laptop so you really would be able to see that. Okay.
We need to thicken ours up a little.
You see, mine is like not that like thick as well. So it can really be runny or a little bit more thick, really depends on how you like it. And I'm just gonna make like little net. So I don't want to cut like uncover like the bottom part of the pan because then it's just gonna be like fried egg. So I do want to have a little bit of sauce.
We have plenty of sauce.
A area for the eggs to lay in. Just like crack an egg.
So I cracked an egg and it went all the way down the side of my cabinets. That's never happened before.
I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you.
I know, and I thought I'd share that.
Right.
Oh my god. And I was like, if the egg whites goes like all over the saucepan, you know what? That's okay. I'm gonna have like a nice area for the eggs. And at this point, I'm just gonna cover it and let it simmer on like a low heat for a little bit.
You don't have a cover.
Yeah, not that bad. I do.
And if you don't have a cover, that's okay?
If you don't have a cover, I would maybe use like foil or something. This helps the eggs to.
How many eggs? Gross.
You have feta cheese. When should we have the cheese?
Sheet of foil, she says.
So this I'm gonna add right at the end, or yeah, I don't want it to get like melted, and because like these type of cheeses are not supposed to be melted, so I'm just gonna add them right before I'm gonna serve it. So.
You're gonna add what right before?
Like I have like my goat cheese, or if you have feta cheese, stuff like that, I'm just gonna add it in the end. But I would say when you add the tomatoes, if there's anything else that you might want to add, that could be a good time for it. So for next times, if you have any ideas for things you want to add, that would.
I have chopped cilantro.
What was that?
Chopped cilantro.
Yeah, I'm putting some in mine.
Just to like garnish it on top.
Yeah.
But you need cilantro, whatever you
How do you know when you eat your done?
What is your favorite, or like what is like the ultimate Texas brunch food?
Migas.
Migas. But it's like Mexican, no? Is it?
That's Texas, baby.
Tex-Mex.
I've been making a lot of migas lately.
Really? That's good. I feel like in Israel we don't really have a lot of like Mexican food.
Put one in the middle.
Yeah, I will.
What was that? Someone?
What dessert did you make with the kids?
So we had a food session. We made, do you know like the Israeli chocolate balls? So it's like crushed tea biscuits and cocoa and like chocolate, and it gets really like truffles, but like super easy to make. And we made something that called ugat biskvitim, which is like an Israeli style cheesecake, which is really, really nice. And we also made, like kosher for Pesach. We made like an Israeli chocolate, which is really not that Israeli, but we were looking for something for Pesach, which is kind of challenging to find something that is kosher for Pesach, easy for kids to make, and Israeli. So we went with the easy to make and kosher for Pesach.
So after you put the eggs in, do you want a low heat or?
Yeah, so you don't want, like you want the sauce to like simmer lightly, but you don't want it to be like too hard. Wow, that looks so good. So just cover it so the eggs would have like
All right.
Oh my gosh, how many people are going to eat that?
We cooked for 2 mothers and a neighbor.
Oh, that's nice.
Really nice.
So lots of people will eat it. We go big or we can go home.
I was wondering.
Or you can go big and
We're gonna have leftovers.
Right.
I'm sorry. How do you know when the eggs are done?
So it's actually really easy to see that. I'm just going to show you mine. So you can see it's starting to get a little bit, like the egg whites actually start to get white, right? So when they gonna turn like completely white, I'm just gonna check, I'm just gonna touch my little finger and see how the egg yolks look like. And now, once again, it really just depends how you like your eggs. Some people like them runny eggs, and that's great with the shakshukas because it's all like mixed together. If you don't like them runny, you can cook them like all the way through, but really just like touch the top of like the egg yolk and see.
After you're done.
Yes. How do you take a walk?
Oh, I'm on nose.
I'm really happy to have the idea of cooking the eggs in a shallow pan, because I've always made it in a big deep pot like this, and then the one time I tried to crack the eggs into the big pot, it was a mess. It didn't work.
That's why I saw like your pan over there, like your pot over there in the back, and I'm like, that's probably not the best way.
Right. So now we've got a little pan. So and then if we want more sauce, we can add it back into our bowl.
Exactly.
That's great. That's really helpful.
Oh, Kelly, tell me where you're.
I want to see Lori's creation.
Marcia, what do we see over there? I feel so confused.
I'm sorry?
What? We're making a lot, so ours is still.
What I've been trying to do is to show you a picture of
I
I think it's ready.
Yeah, that's a nice. Lori, I figured out my job in the kitchen. It's chief cleaner.
Yeah.
I know. I'm doing that too.
Good, Betsy.
Oh, that looks great.
That looks good.
Yeah.
I want to show you mine so you can tell me if it's done, but I can't figure out how to get a picture of it.
Oh,
Yeah, you have to
There you go. Just bring it over. Point it down. Marcia, just point it down. Keep going. You're almost
keep
there.
going. A little more down.
Towards the pan. Towards the pan.
That looks great.
Yeah.
good.
Maybe
How does that go good?
You got to
Oh,
see
ours is turning white now.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to keep
Right.
cooking down in this.
I'll tell you how mine looks like. So it's almost ready, but not completely ready. The egg whites got really firm and nice, and because we make those little nets,
Okay. So, yeah.
they stay in like the same area. But if I touch the egg yolk, it's really, really runny. I don't know if you're able to see that, but it's almost like I'm touching like a raw egg. So I'm just gonna let it cook for a few minutes because it's really, really runny.
No, ours is looking like hers. Okay, ours is starting to look like yours now. I was getting worried that the egg wasn't cooking.
Yeah, you have to cover it so the egg will actually cook. Because otherwise, if you get the heat from the bottom part of the pan, it would never. Or by the time that they will cook on the top, or something will get burned.
I don't care what she wants. Like, I'm not gonna buy a really old car that can't get across.
Guys, this is
Now
fun.
you can really just make all the things that you want to add on the end. So if you want to add some chopped parsley or chopped cilantro, also if you have like feta cheese and stuff like that that you want to add, you can just like crumble them on the side and get it ready to serve. So I would say that if you like give it away for like your mothers and neighbors and all of that, if you don't want to add like the cilantro now, that would work because then it would like cooked. So if you really want to put like a lot of effort, you can chop some parsley and just put it on the side and have them like sprinkle it on top right before. But that's like really fancy. So I don't know if you want that.
So just
Now he's at the front.
That looks yummy, Mark.
That looks really, really good.
I'll be right over, Mark.
that would be awesome.
Justin.
I look forward to the day. It's a good thing I like my wife.
It's a good thing in general, you know, not just now.
No, but more now than before.
I
We
think
haven't spent this much time together in a long time.
Okay, this is ready to come out.
It looks good. Yeah, so just like fill your eggs, and if you feel they're ready, just go ahead and take them off, or just like turn down.
No,
They need a little more.
ours are very mushy in the middle.
So it's really just up to you and how.
Okay.
Mine's ready, so I'm just gonna turn off the heat. Really up to you. And I am going to add now my goat cheese, my crumbled goat cheese, because I like to cook them just a little bit of it. So I turn down the heat. but like obviously the sauce is really, really hot, so I'm just gonna give it like a nice heat. So nice.
My one in the middle is cooked, but my other ones around the side are not.
So
You'll just have-
Should I take
bring
that
down
one?
the heat a little bit so we won't get burned.
Wait, what did you say about burning?
Then like if one of your eggs is like ready already and the other ones are not, I would just lower the heat a little bit so it would get burned in. Because maybe like there's a not that good like distribution of heat, and then just like the center gets really, really hot, and we don't want it to burn.
On the lowest it'll go.
Thank
I think Julie told Paul if he didn't help, he couldn't eat.
you. Want to
No, he said I was helping too much. Move.
We did it.
Ooh, that looks beautiful.
All right, how did you get it out of the pan and into the bowl?
A wooden spoon.
A big one though, right? No?
Just a wooden spoon.
Okay.
what kind of plate?
Yeah.
Okay, so mine is ready as well. So I just put like some goat cheese, and then I ran out of parsley because I ate yesterday like a green tahini with like a bunch of parsley. So just used dry parsley, yeah, which always works. I think with that we can say Betsy Avon to everyone and bon appetit. And I hope that you enjoyed our class today. Great to see all of your shakshukas, and I'm very, very excited for that. If you want and if you can, just like take a picture of your shakshuka either with you or just like in the pen, and maybe send it to Justin and I so we were able to see all of your great creations.
Okay. Did you take a picture with this? Thank you so much. Everybody have a great
Thank
day.
you so much. This was wonderful, Hadass. It was so nice to meet you.
It was great.
Really nice to meet you. I
Fine.
hope that we would be able to meet in person, hopefully soon. But if not, you know, it's just like a good opportunity to get together and also like see friends, but also cook together. And I think there's something really, really nice in knowing that we're all gonna have the same brunch, lunch-ish now. So it's really nice. And thank you all for having me and inviting me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Have
to
a
see you,
great
buddy.
rest of your day, and Shavua Tov.